Funcom just released the brand new public test client patch notes, and today we're going to go over them. There's a lot of good stuff in here, as well as some very questionable things, and I'm going to go over them and give you my opinion on what I think. Before we jump into it though, I want to remind you guys, do not forget to hit that subscribe button because I do monthly giveaways, and to be eligible to win, you have to be a subscriber to my YouTube channel. It's literally free to you, and I'm giving you free things just for doing it, so it's a win-win on your part. For instance, this month's giveaway is a $50 Steam gift card. So join the Discord in the link below, go to the giveaways tab and click participate. If you're into decorating your base like I am, you'll especially not want to miss out on next month's giveaway because I'm giving away the Mural of Pain. And currently the only way to get this is by buying some stupid box of chai tea, which let's be honest, nobody wants. We just want the stupid code. So I bought an extra box just so I can give you the code. And the very last thing I'm going to self-promote is I activated memberships on my YouTube channel. So if you would like to support me as a creator, memberships are now active. Your memberships help me out as a creator as well as give you guys perks. There's 3 different membership tiers, and depending on which one you choose, you get different perks. I'm going to be adding some cool stuff to these, as well as some benefits in the Discord, so if it's something you would like to help me support, I would really appreciate it, but again, don't feel obligated. At the end of the day, I'm just glad you're here, and I enjoy creating content for you guys. Speaking of, I have been doing some non-scheduled live streams the last couple of days. They've been an absolute blast hanging out with everybody in the chat, so if you see me live, come say hi. Alright, let's get into these patch notes and see what we have. I'm going to start off by going into their highlighted patch notes, but then we'll start digging into the smaller stuff. Have you ever been building a base in which you could just replace the wall without having to delete it and place it again? Well, today's your lucky day. They're finally giving us the option in our build tool to just replace the wall with another wall instead of having to delete it and re-add a new one. In my opinion, it's something that should have been added since day one, but hey, at least we're getting it now. The loot that is currently in the deep desert in the PvP zones are a one loot and done, meaning if somebody goes in and loots the room right before you, they're the only ones that are going to get it, and it's going to be an empty chest for you. They're now making it toward the deep desert PvP zones are instance loot, meaning it's going to be just like the PvE zone in terms of how the loot works. So this means if you and 5 of your buddies go loot a PvP lab, all 5 of you are going to be able to loot the chest. But that also means that if a single guy kills all 5 of you, that single guy is going to be able to go loot the chest for himself, as well as steal all 5 of your blueprints if you die. So while I think this isn't necessarily a horrible change, I also think that there's going to be a lot of side effects to it. The economy comes to mind as number 1. The marketplace is about to be flooded with blueprints. I think this is their way of preventing people from camping labs and logging in and logging out and just grabbing the loot as they spawn. So they're giving everybody a chance and an opportunity to loot the loot, which isn't a horrible thing, but again, I think it's a double-edged sword. We'll just have to see how it pans out and they can alter it from there. A more notable change to the loot in the deep desert though is how the loot spawns are going to work from now on. It's no longer tied to a certain chest within a lab. At the moment, the DD goes into rotations with different maps. Well, each map has a different layout, and those layouts are specific to different loots. An example of this is when the lasgun comes into rotation, it's always going to be at the G3 lab, but this is all about to change. Every single blueprint that we have yet to see, and even the ones we've already seen, are now going to be in rotation every single week of the Deep Desert wipe, excluding some that are going to be held off for only Landrad. This means that any lab that you go to run in the Deep Desert is going to have a random chance of loot. Obviously, the stuff that's way higher tier loot is going to have a way lower chance of dropping, but this also means that you won't just have one guild camping a specific lab, say the G3 Island lab, because it has the lasgun. You might be able to go get the lasgun from any other location in the Deep Desert. I definitely think this is a change that needed to happen. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, and I'm curious to see what the drop rates are. As most of you are probably well aware, your server is probably dying out, and most people are swapping over to Harmony if you're an NA and PAX if you're EU. Server merging is definitely something that needs to happen sooner rather than later to keep the player base engaged. Thankfully, they're aware of this, and Iggy said in their next dev livestream they're going to discuss more on the matter, so hopefully we hear some really good news. In my opinion, they should just have like 10 or 15 different deep deserts that every single siege has access to, and that way everybody in the entire game is linked. They could obviously get rid of all the sieges that aren't being used with no players and no characters, and get rid of all the excess deep deserts. This would probably save them a lot of money in the long run, as well as make the player base actually feel alive again, because then I could choose to go to the very high pop version of the deep desert and go get my sweet PvP that I crave. Now, notably, in my opinion, one of the most controversial upgrades that they're doing to this game is adding vehicle recovery. So let's just say you're out farming with your Thopter or whatever, or mishap happens and your Thopter gets eaten by a worm. Well, from now on, you're going to be able to just recover it with your VBT. Yeah, you heard that right. There is zero threat left in this game. If you lose your Thopter or anything, you can just recover it for a small fee. This includes vehicles that are killed by the sandworm, Coriolis storm, or just complete destroyed by combat. If it is destroyed in a way that removes it from the map, you can now recover it. And from my understanding, this is true to even everything that you can't VBT. Crawlers, transports, buggies, everything. In my opinion, this is the dumbest thing they could add to this game. They are dumbing it down more and more every day and watering it down. They started off by gutting the PvP, and now they're gonna gut the PvE by making it to where every resource sink is near stupid because now you can just recover your vehicle. Seeing updates like this makes me just wish I understood what was going through their mind when they decide that this is a good idea. This is absolutely horrible for everyone. Minus a 15% loss in durability, does it help to know that whenever you bring it comes back fully repaired and fueled? I don't know. I really just wish they would stop with this stupid stuff. While we're on the subject of vehicles, they are making it to where now you can have all of your vehicles set as respawn points, meaning you can have them as all active at the same time. So it's essentially like using a vehicle as a respawn point. You could just have sand bikes set around the deep desert and have multiple different respawn points. Really looking forward to how this is going to get abused. A major complaint that I've had on Dune since the closed beta days is the render distance on ornithopters in the deep desert. It just seems like you appear on people rather than seeing them coming in from a distance. It's really annoying. The current distance you can see an ornithopter from now is about 500 meters. And if you notice, you can see a carrier transport from a lot further, about 2,000 meters. Well, this is going to be our new average. So now, in the new update, every single thopter is going to be 2,000 meter view distance. I think the most notable thing in this update, which is something I have been literally craving since the early days of closed beta, and I cannot believe they are just now adding it. You can now fully stock your wind traps with filters and not have to worry about wasting filters even though your water storage is full. They'll just shut off, and then whenever you craft something and use some water, they'll turn back on until you fill right back up. It is something that I have literally been waiting for. Another cool thing you might not have known is there's treasure hunting in Dune Awakening. A lot of people don't know you can do that. If you take your scanner on your thopter or your handheld scanner and see little dots in the open sand, hit them with your compactor and you'll notice a little loot bag appear. You'll find a bunch of little goodies, but most notably, you can actually find full buggies and full ornithopters inside of the treasure. I feel like a lot of people might not know that, and it's just kind of a cool little thing to know. A lot of people like to take breaks from a game, and they don't want to have to constantly come back and upkeep their base. I think the devs are aware of this, and they're trying to come up with a way where you can now store all of your loot inside of the bank, and that way you don't have to worry about it disappearing. Another thing I thought was kind of interesting is they're in talks of maybe doing hardcore servers, so Dune could become a little more like Rust in the future. And if done properly, hey, I'm all for it. I've gone over a majority of the big highlights and updates, but I'm going to go over some of the smaller stuff. I'll also leave a link in the description to the patch notes so you can fully read everything in detail, because I'm definitely not going to be hitting every single little tiny thing. The rocket launchers can now lock onto characters again, but this also means that they have to have a target to lock on to even shoot now. This means no more dummy firing. You can't just fire a rocket launcher at anything unless it's auto-locked onto a target. Spit dart rifles now have their own category inside of the weapon categories. In order to make room for potential growth of vehicle types, the Scout Ornithopter and Assault Ornithopter categories have now been renamed Light Ornithopter and Medium Ornithopter. So this could mean that we're getting more aerial vehicles in the future. They've also made it easier for the repair torch to highlight what you're actually trying to repair. And again, there's multiple more little tiny things. I'll leave the link below so you can go really dig through it. The one last thing I really want to touch on is the Observer Pack building set. The last of the items have been data mined, so we have a little preview of what they're going to look like. This is probably my favorite build set out of every one of them, so I'm pretty excited to get the remaining pieces. Although it's probably going to take months of Twitch drops to fully get them. That's really all I had for this week's updates. I hope you continue liking these update videos, and thank you again for watching my content, and I'll see you again in the next one.